This is going to be a brief PowerPoint presentation outlining the plan for this year's Prevalence and Incidence study. Some of you will remember participating last year, so the good news is that not much has changed. For those of you new to this, what the heck even is a prevalence and incidence study? The goal is to measure both the prevalence, which is a snapshot of how many people in our care already have a pressure injury on day one of the study, and the incidence, which is a measurement of how many people developed new pressure injuries through the course of the study. And this is about pressure injuries in our whole health region. Incidence is done after 7 days in acute care and after 14 days in long-term care. The goal of the study is to see how we are doing at preventing pressure injuries, not to place blame or point fingers, but to identify what we're doing well and where we have room to improve as a healthcare system. All regions are going to be participating, and the results are submitted to Manitoba Health. So my role as the skin care and wound care coordinator is to support you guys. I'll be sending out all the links to the educational activities you'll be expected to complete, and I can send you the forms you will be filling out for the study. I will do my best to be available via phone, Teams, FaceTime to help you out on the study dates. I'll also be compiling the data into about 8,000 Excel files and writing up a fancy report for everyone to read. When that's done, I submit the data to Manitoba Health. And what are you guys going to be doing for this thing? You are going to be working with your CTM, and you'll be identifying team members to assist on both days, and we're going to talk about what that looks like next. Make sure anyone who's actually doing assessments has completed the educational activities. You will need a printed census of everyone who is admitted on the morning of the study. Last year, some sites printed it out at the end of the day the night before. If that's easier, feel free to do that instead. Make sure that all of the healthcare aides know that the study is taking place and that everyone needs to be kept in pajamas and in bed until the assessments are done. If someone is refusing or declining to participate, then they can get up, that's fine. We will be checking every single person from head to toe, including removing dressings. And just to remind everyone that this is only 2 days out of the whole year and that it will be annoying, but that it's going to be okay. So other than you and your assessment nurses, who else can we include? It's easiest to have someone with a clipboard and clean hands to do the documenting while the assessor is doing the assessment. This can be a healthcare aide, unit assistant, dietitian, your CTM, whoever you can recruit. The healthcare aides were invaluable last year in expediting the assessment process. At one site, they actually went one room ahead of the assessors. They were able to raise the bed, turn on the lights, take off people's socks, and then had everybody just ready to go when we walked in the room. And it was awesome, and it made things go way faster. You can also assign someone else to do the chart review part of it. It doesn't matter who does it, as long as it gets done. And finally, the unit nurses need to know that they will have a bunch of dressings to replace, probably. They can just stick on something basic to cover it up temporarily if needed. So this is the data collection form. The incidence form looks the same. It just says incidence at the top instead of prevalence. There'll be a few of these on every page. For each person, we document each pressure injury they have, or check off no injury over there on the right side if they had none. There's room to document 4 wounds of each stage. Hopefully you won't ever need to use all 4 of them. If you find a pressure injury, write down the location in the box under the appropriate stage. So in this example, you can see we have a couple of stage 2 and a stage 4 documented. If someone declines or is just not cooperating, you can just write refused across the whole box. Their demographic information does need to still be in there so that we know who it was who refused. We'd love to have at least 80% participation, but if someone declines, that's totally okay. The skin assessment on admission and the current skin assessment boxes over there on the far left on the bottom can be filled out either before or after the assessment, as long as it gets filled out before you send the forms over to me. So the whole point of this study is to focus on pressure injuries specifically, which makes it really important that we correctly identify and then stage those injuries. There's a lot of stuff that can look like a pressure injury, but is actually something else. So it's time to put on those detective caps and figure out exactly what it is that you're seeing, and then describe it accurately. And please keep in mind we're only documenting pressure injuries on these forms. If you do happen to spot a new diabetic ulcer, skin tear, or some other type of wound, let the person's regular nurse know, but do not document it on these sheets. Only the people actually doing the assessments have to complete the educational activities. Your documenters and chart reviewers do not. So, actual study day is here. What are we doing? First, we need to have our printed unit census. This makes filling in the forms way easier. Once we have our data collection forms ready to go, the assessment teams will go room to room and assess everyone who will let you. We had good results last year by saying something along the lines of, "Good morning, we're doing skin checks for everyone this morning. Is it okay if we have a look at your skin today?" And most of them were fine with that. If they say no, that's totally fine. You can document it and move on. Or if you think they might be more amenable later, you can always try them again later. Once all the data has been collected, mark on your census form everyone who said yes and cross out anyone who said no, because we need this information to do the incidence part of the study. Keep all the paperwork in a file or binder until after incidence, and then to send everything to me all together. You don't need to send me 2 separate packages. So the easier part is the incidence day. We do need another current census sheet accurate for this day. If we're lucky, it won't have changed much. On your new incidence day census, you can either highlight the people who meet the criteria to be included or cross out the people who do not, or both, whatever. Today, the goal is to check only those people we assessed on Prevalence Day who did not have a pressure injury. Our incidence numbers do not include anyone whose pressure injuries worsened because the wound was already there. So I say again, we are only looking at people we have already assessed last time, and only those whose sheets were marked off as no wounds. Then we do the same thing as last time. We fill in the demographic info on the collection form, check everyone on the list who's going to let you. This should take less time than the prevalence part, since the number of assessments you have to do will be lower. Once you have all the forms, please double check them to make sure all the info is there and complete, and then inter-office mail everything to me in Pine Falls. So once the data collection is all done and sent to me, I get the super fun job of compiling a bajillion data points into Excel and creating spreadsheets and graphs to display the data. I also make up a Coles Notes type report for everyone to read. It will be available on Insight and through the CTMs. Since the whole point of the study is to improve care, we look at the numbers for each site and see where we fall against the national average. And if ours are higher, we look to see where we can do better. And if we're on par or better with national averages, like we were last year, we get to celebrate how awesome we are. If you have any questions or suggestions about the study, please do let me know. Email is more reliable since I'm on the road a lot and I have the short-term memory of a goldfish, so I'll probably forget to call you back if you leave me a phone message. I look forward to working with everyone on this, and I promise everything will be okay. Thank you.